Okay, good. And this is Rubicon Real Estate, and I'm Nick the broker, right? Okay. You're put into a strange town. You don't have a lot of money, okay? And you're gonna try to find a place to rent, usually a guest house, right? Where the rental includes the utilities and something you can afford and it's private, something nice. Okay, you gotta find a place to live. But after that, you got to set yourself up now. What are you going to do? And first thing I would do, I would go to a real estate office. Okay? As a matter of fact, even if I was looking for a rental, I would go to the real estate office. I'd go to the broker. I'd ask them if they could help me. Can I get a real estate license? Do they have training of any kind? And I'd try to make some contact with some people in the real estate office. Okay? Now, the next thing, I got a job. I got to find a job. So I find a job. The job pays okay. All right? The next thing I do is I know I cannot pay rent. When you pay rent, you'll never get out of the hole. All right? So I've got to buy something somehow. And my credit is pretty good. And this is why you want to keep your credit good. All right? Because sooner or later you're going to want to get a loan. Even if you want to buy a car, you've got to get a loan most of the time. So your credit is pretty good. You now have a job. You've got some income. Now, you've got to find the property. And that's when the fun starts. Okay? You want to find a property, and that's a whole other class, I guess, so finding the property, and which we'll do a little later on. Okay? But you find a property, maybe a house or a duplex, or a house that you could split into a duplex. You've got to get creative here. Even if you're bending the rules and maybe doing something that is a little over the line. But if you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, you maybe have a duplex here if you just put up a wall and a kitchen. You could plug in a kitchen. They sell these units which you just literally plug it into the wall. Have you had experience with that, Fred?
They have them down the street down here on the other side.
Snyder Diamond.
Yeah, they've had.
I did work with Snyder Diamond, and they have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You were there too?
Oh, that was years ago when I had my gas station over there.
Yeah. Well, you buy them and plug into the wall. The problem with that is if you have a tenant who vacates the property, they might take that with them. So you got to be very careful about
Big
that.
security deposit.
I've had it happen.
That's all.
You know.
And take pictures.
Well, whatever you do, listen, they go, they go. How are you going to collect? You know? So there you got room splitting. Plus, you might get a house with a garage. You could convert that to a guest house. You're always looking to make money. It's always about the money. Okay? And you want to get something that maybe has a big lot. If you have a big lot, you could always add on to that house. You could put a garage on that lot and then convert the garage to a guest quarter. It's always, you got to do this. You got to get creative, all right? Or else nothing's going to happen. You realize on my house, and I certainly don't need the money, but my house actually pays me to live there, the way I've got the whole thing set up. And it's worked for over 20 years. Figure, if you got $3,000 a month income for 20 years, how much money is that? That's a lot of money. $30,000 a year times 20, $600,000 or something. It's really up there. All right? You want to get an FHA deal. You want to get an FHA because you only need 3.5% down payment. Very little. But you can also set it up so that the seller compensates you for a lot of your closing costs. Plus, the seller can credit you 6% towards the repairs. See, our FHA program is a whole other class, but it's critical. You want an FHA deal because that loan is assumable. Are they still assumable, Fred? I can't remember.
I was going to ask you.
I don't remember.
I know they assumed for a couple of years ago.
I'm not sure, but let me tell you, if you're going to do an FHA deal before, do it. But then let's go over and see what the parameters are. Or watch the tape. I got a tape on FHA. Look at that. An FHA transaction, a 203K, you can add repairs onto the loan. Look at this.
Wow.
The loan is $100,000, and FHA says, okay, well, we'll give you additional $20,000 on the loan. And now you can start making the repairs, and the FHA has financed it. This is the way to do it. Nicole, sooner or later when you buy your first property, this is what you do. Let's say now you have absolutely no money. I found the property, I have absolutely no money. This is where your personal circle comes in. Right, Tom? We said about that. You hit these people up for money. But you say to them, and this is how we built the shopping center, me and Leon, because we had no money. We went to his relatives, and we gave them the idea that we have. And they lent us $20,000. Can you believe it? We built this whole thing with $20,000. This is unbelievable, right? So what happened, but this was a long time ago.
Wow.
We said to them, okay, you give us the money so we can complete this transaction. And before we ever take any money, you get your $20,000 back, right? Watch what we did. We had to get the plans for the shopping center here, square footage and what they can rent for. We had to do a big study. We even had to hire a company that puts monitors on the street to find out how many cars pass this corner. So we could present that to the bank and say, oh look, if we put a shopping center, they're going to make business. Because 50,000 cars in a 12-hour period pass this corner. Okay. So we presented to the bank says, yes, we'll lend you money for construction. And we got the $20,000. And that's how it basically started, okay? And we got it all rented up. And then as soon as it was rented and everything was done, we refinanced it. And once you refinance it, we gave everybody back their money, plus we had money. After they got their money back, we got half of all the money that was left over. So we wind up making another $10,000, and they made $10,000, plus they got their $20,000. This is a fantastic maneuver, all right? And it's been doing it ever since. So you buy, you get some money, you build up the property, it makes a little money, it looks nice and clean, and then you refinance. Maybe with another FHA loan. Isn't this great? See, the system works. It really does work if you do that. Okay. You can set up the limited partnership, which is exactly what Leon and I always did. Because we never had enough money. So we set up a limited partnership. And we were the general partners, which means we had all the liability. Okay? Okay. When the package is ready, that is the property, you could sell on an all-inclusive trust deed because the FHA loan is assumable. Even if it's not assumable, you can do an all-inclusive trust deed. Okay? If you sell on an AITD, let's say you borrow money now at 4%, right? The market goes nuts at 12%. There's no problem. What if new loans were 12%? You say to the new buyer, I will lend you the money at 10%, all right? Meanwhile, I will keep the existing loan, and then I have the extra money that pays the 10%, okay? I am now making money over the FHA loan. I become the bank. That's a very complicated thing, the all-inclusive trustee. But once you become the bank, then you start making some money, okay? Because you're getting an override on other people's money. Okay. See, I put here, the limited partners must get all of their investment back before the general partner gets any money. They were very happy with that. When you say that to a limited partner, you don't get any money until they get their money. This is very important.
You do that in writing?
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, you have a certificate of limited partnership, has to be done a certain way, okay? And you can even record it. But instead of recording the limited partnership, remember, Fred, we talked about this, you could record a memorandum. It doesn't really say what happened. It's nobody's business. But something happened. And if you want to sell that property and shaft the other partners, you can't. Because the title company says, hey, what happened here? What's going on? And then you've got to make full disclosure, which is fine too. So you now get everyone back their investment money, plus the splitting up of the profits, plus the monthly override on the loan, which has stayed in place. Remember OPM, other people's money. If you don't have any money, you've got to get it from somewhere to do this, and it's worth it, okay? As an agent, plus you get your real estate licenses, right? Well, as an agent, you get the brokerage fees, the commissions. So Leon and I made it up there too. Because the partners, they were happy to pay the commission. What do they care? They got everything. Plus, we got half of the profits, plus we got our commissions as brokers, right? Then, of course, if you have the escrow, then you're making the escrow too. Okay. Now, this is something I'm not familiar with. Servicing the loan. Okay? If you do an AITD, which I've done, then there is servicing. You know, it's $50 a month, $100 to run all the paperwork. But the bank, there's a servicing fee. When they do loans, there's servicing involved, which I'm not familiar with. Isaac knows more about that. Splitting up the monthly payment, that's a servicing on the AITD, okay? But the key here is, how do you get started if you're starting with almost nothing? Now, to find the property, this is the hard part, Tom, and so you're both young and you could go running around. Statistically, you're going to have to look at about at least 40 to 50 properties. That's really hard, okay? You all know I talk about this, the guy who's really doing this at Rubicon, he's a veteran. He bought the property, no down. Seller paid all of his costs. He had no money. But he and his wife had jobs, and they had pretty good credit. And he started it. Eric, you guys know Eric? He runs in here, looks like a bodybuilder, and then he runs out. Okay? But he comes in because of the MLS sheets and to see what properties are available. Because now he's refinanced and he's ready to go to the next step. Isn't this exciting? He's going to do it again. He's pulling out his money, whatever he's got in it. He put no money in it, right? He's refinancing. He's going to come out with maybe 10, 15,000. Now he's looking for the next property to go FHA. For veterans, if you're a veteran, you can really do very well if you find the property, okay? So that is basically how you start with nothing. So what you want to do is get a real estate license, so when you find a deal, you get the fees, you get the brokerage fees, which is like at least 3% of the sales price. It's a lot of money. $200,000, 3%, $6,000, right there, all right? And then if you do get a license, don't let it expire. A license is very important. Okay? Because if you let it expire, then to get it back, it's going to be hell. Okay? And plus, if you don't have to take the exam all over again, then you've got to pay a lot more money. So don't do that. And you go to, I like First Tuesday, right? I told you about First Tuesday? You get 30% discount. Okay, Nicole, I think that's it on that one. That's good. That's starting with nothing.